Hey y'all, it's Farmer MeeMaw, and today I'm going to share with you how I'm homeschooling my fourth grader for practically nothing. I have a senior as well. He's doing the virtual online public school thing, but that just was not a good fit for my fourth grader. And so when we knew that things were going to be different when we started back to school this year, I decided to take the plunge and homeschool. I have really wanted to homeschool for a long time, but I didn't think I had what it takes because, I'm kind of ADHD and I'm scattered. But I didn't want to send my fourth grader back to school and have to wear a mask all day because that's what they're doing here. And I didn't want him to have to deal with the online stuff we dealt with at the end of the school year last year because it was horrible. And so I decided to homeschool. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure that he's getting a good education, but also a Christian-based curriculum. And so that brings me to the main curriculum that we're using, and that is Easy Peasy. And the website, I'm going to leave the website, web address to all of these things, all of these resources down in the description below. And so feel free to look there to find all of this. Now, Easy Peasy is all-in-one-homeschool.com. It's a great resource. And when this isn't our thing. This is just like if you sign in as a guest. So you can look around. But it'll have your math, lesson number 1. It tracks your lessons for you. And then it brings you to what you need to do. And there are printables. You can print out like workbooks, and then you can read what it has. The book would be online reading, and then you have the worksheets to do. And here's, whoa, I'm losing stuff. So here is one on like ancient history that I printed out, and you can see these are like worksheets that you can do, and you can do things online, you can do it on paper. I mean, there's just so much flexibility doing it this way. You just do what works for you. And so obviously the cost of paper was something I bought a box for like less than $15 of 5 reams of paper, and it should last me a good while because I don't plan on printing out a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm using Easy Peasy to keep me on track, but I'm also going to have a lot of flexibility. If I don't want to do a particular thing on here, that's okay. I don't have to. I'm in Arkansas, and really the only requirement that we have is to turn in our intent to homeschool. They don't really do a lot of tracking. Now, with everything going the way it is, they may start doing that. I plan on tracking as far as lessons and things like that, just so that I know what he learned. For example, this year, if I do it again next year, I'm not going to be teaching him the same thing. But let me show you the resources other than Easy Peasy. That's just going to kind of keep us on track. Another thing that's keeping us on track is, let me pull this out. I got this. It was like under $9. It was like $8.96 or something like that from Sam's. And it has math, reading, reading comprehension, English and writing. And if you look right here, it says current state standards for 4th grade. And so we've already started doing some of these assignments, and it's just to give him a non-computer based, because y'all, he does so much better on paper. But I mark the assignments every day because, each section, and there are 5 sections, he has an assignment from each section. And we can go through this pretty quickly, I believe. And so I also got one for 5th grade in case we need more. Because it's, it seems pretty basic. Now, that's, like I said, that was a $9 investment, and that just gives him something to do as well, keeping up with basic standards. Now, the thing that this doesn't cover is science and history, or science and social studies, and as well as biblical studies. And those are all things that we can get through Easy Peasy. And so Easy Peasy will probably be one of our primary resources. And again, what I like about this is that it is flexible. Now, one of the other things that we're doing or considering. And I'm also going to be having him do some cursive. He actually enjoyed cursive whenever he was in public school. And so we will continue that, and I'll have him practicing cursive, or some of his writing assignments. I'll have him write his answers in cursive, just so he can continue to practice that. Another just so important for me as someone with ADHD who's scattered and forgetful, and sometimes I forget to write stuff down, which I've written down some resources that I'm going to talk to you about. But a very important aspect of all of this is that I created a bookmark file called Homeschool. And in this, it has a lot of assignments. It has unit studies, which is where you can study one topic, but you can get your reading and your writing and your science and your history all from one specific unit study. And so there are resources for hundreds of free unit studies and ideas for unit studies and things like that. And so we'll be doing some of those sprinkled in as well, maybe around special holidays or seasons, or, maybe just something sparks an interest with him, because I know he's all about the dinosaurs. And so there are biblical studies and videos that you can watch on YouTube all about how dinosaurs were in the Bible. And they didn't call them dinosaurs, obviously, but it just links everything back. So I want to share with you some of the websites. Now, some of these are on here. I'm going to put all of these in the description below so that you can access these resources that I have found. And there are tons more. All you have to do is look. But YouTube channels, I want to tell you specifically about some of the really good YouTube channels that I found that have biblical studies or science, and there's even like a math. I think the name of it is just math on YouTube. But Free School, these are all YouTube channels. Number 1, Free School. Number 2, Homeschool Pop, P-O-P. Number 3, National Geographic. There is also a National Geographic Kids YouTube channel. Answers in Genesis, The Bible Explained, and Got Questions Ministries. And all of these have been really good. And I found, like I said, I found other ones. So you just get on there and you look for the topic, and you can probably find a channel that's going to be on that topic. And so what I'm going to do when we're doing science or history the night before, I'm going to compile a playlist. I've created I'm using one of my alternate channels that I never post videos to. And I'm putting playlists together for him every day. He'll have videos that he needs to watch that day for a particular lesson that I've gleaned from YouTube videos. So he'll have access to that. And then I may find other resources or unit studies and things like that that he can read online. He can use his tablet. He can use my computer, whatever. But he's going to have plenty of resources. But the night before, I will get those together so that the next morning will be structured. He'll start out with the easy stuff, like working in the workbook, and then he'll transition to some of his heavier reading assignments. Some other websites that I came across that I think would be really good to have, and again, just having this daily tradition, because we're at the very beginning. Now is the time to kind of develop traditions. And there's a holidayinsights.com, and it has daily calendars of odd holidays. So every day is like there's a holiday, some weird, quirky, National Pie Day or whatever it is, which is March 14th, by the way, y'all, 3.14. And then they also have on this day in history. So it may not be a holiday, but something really important happened on this day. And so those are some things that we can look at. You can also do Bible verse of the day and things like that. Have a memory verse, all kinds of things that you can do to give your kids the education that you want them to have, and still getting them to learn what they need to. And a lot of times it's not going to take as long as a regular school day, because if you think about a teacher trying to teach 20 to 30 students, yeah, it's going to take 8 hours for all of them to get it. But you've only got 1 kid or 2 kids, or maybe you have 3 or 4 kids, 5 kids, but it's still not 20. I assume most of you don't have 20 kids. And so you're not going to have to be splitting your time up. And so they can work at their pace. When they're done and they can move on. So don't expect your day to have to last the same amount of time as a regular school day. The other thing that I got, because one of the things that might be more like a unit study that my son showed interest in is survival skills, knowing how to start a fire, knowing how to survive off the land, doing some very basic skills. And so I found this book, and I want to say it was like $11. It was also at Sam's. And it's, it's called How to Survive in the Wild. And I also plan on teaching him cooking skills, homesteading skills, fermentation, and some food science, and things like that. So he's going to get a well-rounded and very practical, useful education. And I told him, you know, survival skills are not just about surviving in the wild, but sometimes you need to have some survival skills to survive in society and to be able to grocery shop or eat on a budget, or, you know how to follow a recipe, and so, or raise a garden. And so we're going to be focusing on a lot of this stuff. Again, part of me feels like I'm an unschooler at heart, but I also know the ADHD and OCD person in me needs to have this structure so that we stay on task. And so that's the main reason for Easy Peasy, is just that, and the workbook is for that daily check off the list. Yes, we've covered this. Yes, we've covered this. Yes, you know how to do addition, subtraction, decimals, fractions, whatever it is. And again, fractions, he may do a worksheet, and then we may go and double a recipe or half a recipe so that he can learn how to do fractions. Let's see here. And the last thing I got really was a sketch pad. And so we can do, we can go out to the picnic table outside and draw or do art or make collages or whatever it is. So we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of freedom, and that's what it's all about. So yeah. Let me tell you some of the things over here, some of the websites, and then I'll put the links below for resources for unit studies and things like that. Big Juicy Conversations by Brave Writer. Brave Writer is a really good resource. Some things you have to pay. Some things you have free access to really great ideas when it comes to writing, and I was just sucked into it. So yeah, Brave Writer. Free writing, that may be through Brave Writer, masterbooks.com. Some resources will have like some freebies involved that you can look into, or just ideas, and I love ideas, y'all. Fractions, parts of a setting. Okay, education.com, that comes from education.com. That's another really good resource, and they have lesson plans and things like that, and they have at education.com, they have games that you can access to practice math skills and things like that. Let's see here. Homeschool.com is homeschooling unit studies that you can get access to. Let's see here. Giant list of free unit studies from preschool to high school. Gardening unit study. In all you do, so INALLUYOU do. In all you do, that's another resource. It's a Mother thing. There's 100 free unit studies for all ages, and it's a Mother thing. The Ultimate Guide to Free Unit Studies. Renee at Great Peace. Again, I'll give you all these websites, and then free unit studies at Eclectic Homeschooling. So those are some of the resources that I have found, and I really found all of them maybe in one day, maybe 2 days, probably all in one day. So that is how I'm going to be homeschooling my 4th grader. I also have, as far as reading goes, we have a lot of books that he has access to, classical books and more modern books that have lessons like character building type lessons built into them. And so these are all the ways that we're going to be homeschooling our 4th grader starting Monday. When are y'all starting this process? If you have kids or grandkids, when are they going back to school? Are they going back to school? Everything is so up in the air, and that's why I have so much peace about being in control of what's going on with my kids. Hope you have a great day, great weekend. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye, y'all.